After the first 10 challengers had failed, the system finally gave me the option to pick my own role. Anything I want? I asked. Go ahead. The one who got away, the sweet underclassman, whatever you feel like, the system replied, its tone flat and disinterested. The previous players had already tried all the popular roles, and each had spectacularly failed. In that case, I'll be the dorm mom, I said. The system's only directive was to make the male leads lose all interest in the heroine. Nowhere did it say I had to date anyone to make that happen. Plus, as dorm mom, I had a perfectly valid excuse to break up happy couples. The moment I made my choice, I appeared in the ground floor office of a university dorm. Target 1, Victor. Victor and the heroine, Andrea, are returning from a late-night snack run. Objective: intercept and disrupt. I glanced at the clock. 11 p.m. Perfect. I knew the routine. I slipped out the front doors, circled around to the back, and sure enough, there was Victor, helping Andrea scale the security wall. I flicked on my heavy-duty flashlight, blinding them with a harsh beam. What do you think you're doing sneaking around at this hour? They both jumped. Victor lost his grip, and Andrea's legs went weak. Andrea toppled over, right onto Victor's face.
Ouch.
Even from a distance, the awkwardness radiated like a neon sign. 2 muffled groans echoed, one from pain, the other from sheer humiliation. Andrea scrambled to her feet, cheeks blazing red. What are you two doing back here? Names, dorms now, I demanded, striding closer. Victor clutched his nose. Sorry, ma'am. Dance club rehearsal ran late. Could you maybe let it slide this once? Sure. That story might fly for someone naive. Club activities never ran past 9. Who knew what they'd actually been doing the last 2 hours? Curfew is curfew, I said flatly. No pass, no excuses. You get written up and a formal apology is mandatory. Both of them paled instantly. I take responsibility, Victor said, stepping in front of Andrea like a knight in shining armor. Just punish me. I studied him, silent, jingling my keys. Then I gestured for Andrea to follow me. She exhaled a quiet sigh of relief. The dorms shared a building, guys on the left, girls on the right, separated by a sealed corridor. As she started up the stairs, I spoke casually. Breaking rules has consequences. Fairness matters, right? Andrea's smile faltered. Of course, I added sweetly. But you could make it up. By telling me which of your roommates are using banned appliances, she offered. Back at the front gate, Victor waited like a model student. Freshman, so innocent, so predictable. They hadn't yet mastered sneaking around. I'll have the written apology on your desk before my first class tomorrow, he said obediently. I chuckled. No rush. I offered him the same deal I'd given Andrea. His expression soured instantly. The system pinged, confirming Victor's affection for me had already dropped below 0. I'll take the blame, he said firmly. No one else has to suffer for me. I clapped softly. Now that's loyalty. You passed the test. His face shifted from devastation to confusion. You were testing me?
Yes.
If you'd thrown your friends under the bus like Andrea, you'd already be writing that apology, I said meaningfully. Victor's expression darkened further. Wait, Andrea, she? I nodded.
Exactly.
She turned on her roommates without a second thought. No way. I patted his shoulder. Pretty faces can hide ugly hearts. Always look deeper. Sometimes the outside doesn't match the inside, I added, smiling. Take me, for example. Your dorm mom might not be a supermodel, but inside? Pure gold. Victor, previously crushed, actually cracked a grin. You look young for a dorm mom.
Duh.
Gen Z life. I deadpanned. He stammered out an apology. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean. It's fine. Go on. Back to your room. I waved him off. Back in my office, the system practically buzzed with excitement. Victor's affection for Andrea had plummeted to 50%. I sipped from my thermos. All in a day's work. Who's next? Target 2. Ethan. Ethan encounters Andrea while working part-time at a local boba shop. Objective: intercept and disrupt. The next morning, I was up at first light, stationed near the campus lake, a convenient shortcut to the boba shop. The path was quiet, save for a few students quietly muttering English vocab to themselves. Soon a lean, sharp-featured guy appeared. Ethan. Kingston University's campus heartthrob. Gorgeous, but perpetually broke. As a sophomore, his life was a constant juggle between classes and part-time gigs. His latest job conflicted with his new schedule, so he was on the hunt again. He was supposed to meet Andrea at the boba shop, a slow-burn romance in the making that would put him on her list of admirers. Not if I had anything to say about it. I whipped out a homemade flyer. Hey, student, want to make serious cash? 300 a day, no joke. My plan was simple. Intercept him before he ever met Andrea. If he never met her, he could never fall for her.
Perfect.
Ethan paused, brow furrowing as he read the flyer. $300 a day. I flashed my dorm supervisor ID. Completely legit. Doubt it? Report me to administration. His skepticism melted away. Okay, what's the job? I smiled mysteriously.
Follow me.
The path became more secluded, leading to an overgrown patch behind the dorms. Where are you taking me? He asked, hesitating. I didn't answer. Instead, I asked, ever considered more hands-on work? His face turned bright red. That's what this job is. I nodded as if it were the most ordinary thing in the world. What else could it be? He let out a short, embarrassed laugh. $300 should have guessed it was too good to be true. I unlatched the gate to a small pen. A flock of sleeping ducks woke and waddled toward me, quacking. On my first day, I'd requested this land from the university for a small vegetable garden and duck coop. Dorm mom's salary didn't exactly cover expenses. Ethan froze, staring at the ducks, utterly speechless. What are you waiting for? In or out? I snapped. He muttered. When you said personal work. I smirked. Yeah? What did you think I meant?
He shook his head, mortified.
Nothing, never mind. I handed him a face mask and wicker basket. Good. Now go collect eggs. Ethan obeyed, and I set up my phone on a tripod, starting a live stream. Title: Campus Cutie and His Quack Pack. Live at 6 a.m. Viewers flooded in, sending donations and gifts. Mission accomplished, and the internet footed the $300 bill. Meanwhile, Andrea would soon notice one fish missing from her pond. With Ethan handled, the system immediately offered up the next target. Target 3, Caleb. Caleb, Andrea's childhood sweetheart, had just transferred to Kingston to be near her. Objective: intercept and disrupt. A scholarly, clean-cut guy appeared at the dorm entrance, holding a gift box, eyes scanning for Andrea with hopeful excitement. Now this was interesting. Unlike Victor and Ethan, Caleb was devoted and sentimental. Disrupting this connection would be trickier. Wait, that name rang a bell. I dug through the bottom drawer of my desk, finding a tidy stack of postcards and letters. The front desk doubled as an unofficial mail drop. Among the slightly grubby envelopes, the sender was Caleb. The recipient simply read, Andrea. A slow grin spread across my face. Jackpot. After lunch, Andrea returned to the dorm, surprised to see Caleb rushing toward her. Caleb? What are you doing here? She asked. He smiled, holding out the gift. I transferred. I'm studying here now. Remember my last letter? Andrea distractedly unwrapped the gift. Oh, right. You said something about that? His smile faltered. You didn't read my letters? No, not exactly, she stammered, eyes flicking to my office window. I mean, I never even got them. They were probably intercepted by the dorm mom, she said, feigning pity. I heard she reads students' mail herself. I kept my expression neutral, sneering internally. As predicted, Andrea left with her excuses, and Caleb came straight to my office. Excuse me, is the dorm mom here? That's me, I said pleasantly. He blinked, disbelief flashing across his face. You're the mom? Problem? I asked, feigning innocence. Think someone born after 2000 can't be a dorm mom? No. I mean, ma'am, miss, did you take some letters addressed to Andrea? Just normal letters from me. I studied him. Handsome, earnest, eyes full of stubborn innocence. Slowly, I produced the grimy letters. These? His face lit up, then furrowed. Why are they so dirty? Because, I said gently, they were in the trash. And not just once, several times. I document recycling daily, and these ended up in my photos. I pulled up security footage showing Andrea tossing the letters into the trash. Caleb went pale. Look, some things are meant to be, I said softly. Give your heart to someone who will treasure it. I pushed the letters toward him. Keep trying or cut your losses, it's your choice. He took them, whispering, Thank you. The system pinged. Caleb's affection for Andrea had dropped to 40%. Childhood sweethearts ran deep, but I had time. With the first wave of disruptions done, I settled into dorm mom life. Students in class, I snacked on sunflower seeds and binge-watched short dramas. But Andrea hadn't been idle. She'd clawed back some affection from Victor and Caleb. I wasn't about to let that happen. One evening, I set up a small charcoal grill behind the dorms with a hand-painted sign. Dorm Mom Cares. Free roasted sweet potatoes. The aroma drew a crowd. Andrea grabbed the biggest sweet potato, without hesitation. Victor, walking by behind her, scowled at the sight. I announced casually, "Sweet potatoes warm the soul, but they can make you gassy. Don't be greedy." Andrea rolled her eyes. "Some care event. The school pays for it anyway. Don't take it? You're an idiot." She stuffed 2 more into her bag, unbothered. Later, on a stroll, I passed the dance studio. Andrea had asked Victor to be her partner for a duet. Victor hoisted her up for a difficult lift. And, at that precise moment, PFFFTTT. A sharp, unmistakable sound echoed through the studio. It was as if the music in the rehearsal hall had abruptly screeched to a stop. Victor's arms went rigid, and he nearly dropped Andrea. Her face turned a volcanic shade of red. She scrambled to get down, silently wishing the floor would open up and swallow her whole. The air hung heavy with sheer, suffocating awkwardness. Victor let go, stepping back, his face green. He managed to choke out, "Let's call it a day." He didn't even glance at her as he grabbed his jacket. The other dancers whispered among themselves. Andrea, blazing with shame and fury, spotted me outside and stormed over. "You did that on purpose. You just wanted to humiliate me." I lifted my hands innocently. "That's a serious accusation. Everyone else ate the sweet potatoes just fine. Why is it only a problem for you? I did warn you not to be greedy." Andrea opened her mouth to argue, but Victor intervened, brow furrowed. "Will you stop? Everyone's watching. Do you want to make this even more humiliating?" Andrea's face twisted with rage, and she bolted. System notification. Victor's affection for Andrea has dropped to 20%. Later that night, Victor sent me a private message. He apologized and mentioned he'd convinced Andrea to leave the dance club. That was an unexpected bonus. He explained that ever since joining, she had struggled to keep up, a total reversal from her audition. Other members were growing frustrated. Of course, I knew why. His affection for her had fallen. If it had been rising, he'd have spent all his free time helping her improve. Without his attention, her lack of skill became a glaring issue. Without the club, Andrea's chances to get close to Victor had evaporated. But she hadn't given up. She pivoted toward Ethan. Ethan's Duck Egg livestream had gone mildly viral. With his campus popularity, a group of fangirls now staked out the duck pen, hoping for a chance encounter. Ethan politely shooed them away. Andrea, however, tried a different tactic. After some recon, she found out I'd set Ethan up with the job. She went straight to the duck pen, putting on a performance of concern and sympathy. "Ethan, you don't have to ruin your reputation for this," she said sweetly. "You could work anywhere. My boba shop is hiring right now." She lowered her voice. "That dorm mom is a total psycho. If she's making you do this, speak up. I'll help." Ethan stopped, confused. "What are you talking about? I make $300 a day here. I like it. If you think it's bad, maybe ask yourself why she'd dislike you." He waved dismissively. "Now, if you'll excuse me, you're interrupting my work." Andrea pressed on. "But this job is filthy. She's exploiting you. Look at the live stream. People are objectifying you. She's clearly profiting. Don't fall for it." I watched from my phone, dead-eyed. Did she forget the live stream was still running? Her voice carried perfectly, insulting the very donors funding Ethan's pay. Ethan's frown deepened. "I don't know you. And this is weird. I like this job. Great pay, flexible hours. Can your boba shop match $300 for 2 hours?" Andrea faltered. I could ask." He smiled politely, but distantly. "I'll wait for the news. Meanwhile, step back. Don't step in the poop." Andrea's eyes sparkled with hope. "No, he's just worried you'll make it harder to collect later," I said, walking through the gate. Ethan greeted me. 3 baskets of eggs done, maybe 1 more, and a full bucket of poop today. "Good work," I nodded. Andrea, frustrated, hissed. "She's making you collect duck poop? That's humiliating." "What's wrong with duck poop? I sell it to the AG department," Ethan said, inspecting the droppings like gold nuggets. He'd turned it into a side hustle, delivering fresh manure for compost projects. Andrea stared in disbelief. Is money all that matters to you? Ethan laughed. You're above money, right? Happy now? Oh, and by the way, you stepped in my profits. Andrea looked down. Sure enough, a fresh pile of duck droppings smeared her shoe. She shrieked, echoing across the field. The ducks panicked, scattering in every direction. She limped off in disgust as the live stream chat exploded with laughter. System notification. Ethan's affection for Andrea has dropped to -15%. Mission progress. 33%. I grinned. -15. Ethan was my first completed target. As a reward, I gave him a $100 bonus. He worked even harder. Andrea finally retreated. The system reported she had given up on Ethan and returned to cozying up to Caleb, raising his affection slightly. The system nudged me to intervene again. Days passed before a perfect opportunity appeared. Caleb, a top student overseas, had transferred for Andrea and was placed in a research lab. Recently, a project had reached a critical phase, requiring a late curfew pass. I got tired of waking up for him and handed him a spare key. Use this. Don't wake me. Over time, Caleb and I had become friendly. Sometimes he left materials in my office while rushing to class. Today, he handed me a thick notebook. Hold this for me? I gestured to the file rack. He scribbled his name on a sticky note and sprinted off. Andrea, coming to collect a package, spotted it. Pretending to walk by, she snatched the notebook as she passed my window. I didn't notice at first. When I realized, my stomach sank. Security footage confirmed her theft. Caleb returned. I quickly explained. At that moment, a video call from Andrea rang on his phone. Caleb, I got your love letter this time. So touched. Using math formulas, how sweet. Caleb's face twisted in disbelief. Andrea, what are you doing? Her tone faltered. What's wrong? Why are you so mean? He steadied himself on my office frame. Delete that post.
Now.
And return my notebook. Andrea noticed me in the background and erupted. It's you again. What did you do? Caleb lost his patience. Are you insane? Those aren't love letters. That's my unpublished experimental data. She realized the gravity of the mistake, frantically deleting the post and returning the notebook. Caleb's focus never wavered, flipping through pages in relief. I gave Andrea a pointed look. Not my fault you misread things. Caleb's tone was tight. This notebook would mean nothing to anyone else. Never leave it out like this. He looked Andrea square in the eye. We were childhood friends. We're adults now. From here on, we act like strangers. Andrea gaped. You're cutting me off? Even though you deleted the post, the data was exposed. Lab protocol requires reporting. We have to separate. It's for the best. Andrea was cornered. She dreaded the thought of paying fines but couldn't bear to lose her last remaining prospect. I seized the moment. I share some of the blame here. If there are any penalties, I'll cover my portion. Andrea opened and closed her mouth but couldn't bring herself to match my offer. System notification. Caleb's affection for Andrea has dropped to 0. Congratulations, host. Mission progress. 66%. I arched an eyebrow. That went even smoother than expected. Just Victor remained. I assumed it would take effort, but Andrea's patience was wearing thin. I started noticing Victor returning to the dorms with a shadow trailing him. If his affection meter weren't still steadily declining, I might have thought she was clawing her way back into his favor. One afternoon, returning from the cafeteria, I spotted them. Victor looked utterly fed up. When he saw me, a desperate idea lit up his eyes. Just stop following me. I'm already in love with someone else. Andrea froze, shock quickly morphing into fury.
Who?
The dorm mom, he declared, gesturing at me with theatrical flair. She's my type. Responsible, mature, someone who can keep me in line. I stood there, dumbstruck, as he rushed over and grabbed both my hands. I'm tired of struggling, ma'am. Take care of me, he added, giving me a frantic wink over his shoulder at Andrea. Andrea's eyes widened, as if the universe itself had gone mad. You'd make up a lie like that to get away from me? It's not a lie. It's the gospel truth, Victor insisted, sincerity plastered on his face. Andrea's voice shrilled. You'd rather be with some old hag than me? I shot Victor a glance that could freeze fire. Oh, so now I was a human shield? Not on my watch. Mission still in progress. First, I said, voice dangerously calm, I'm Gen Z. A few years older than you, yes, but hardly ancient. I held up my index and middle fingers. Second, inventing such a transparently ridiculous lie to avoid a problem is immature and irresponsible. Victor looked embarrassed, refusing to meet my eyes. And finally, I added, turning to Andrea with surgical precision, he'd rather concoct a fantasy about liking me than be with you. Still not getting it. Have some self-respect. Andrea's fury boiled over. She shot us both a venomous glare and stormed off. System notification. Victor's affection for Andrea has dropped to 10%. What I didn't expect was that Ethan would take a similar approach. While Andrea was pestering Victor in the real world, she hadn't abandoned her attempts online. She hired a flood of trolls to harass Ethan's livestream, spreading rumors that he had a sugar mama and that his hardworking student persona was fake. The chat filled with venom. Probably has some rich old lady paying him. Who would watch otherwise? I heard the dorm mom is his sugar mama.
Gross.
He's faking it for attention. I tuned in just as the chaos hit peak volume. Ethan first tried calm explanations. Thanks for your concern. I'm just working to support myself. But the trolls intensified, becoming cruel and personal. I decided an in-person appearance was necessary. The moment I appeared on camera, the trolls went wild. The sugar mama is here. Caught them. My eyes. They burn. Some regular viewers began questioning the narrative. I looked too young to be a sugar mama. Clearly a misunderstanding. Ethan shot me an apologetic glance, then faced the camera sincerely. Thank you for your concern. I do not have a sugar mama. But if you're asking what my type is... He paused for effect. I think the dorm mom is incredible. She gave me this job, taught me responsibility. If I ever get a girlfriend, I hope she's like her. The chat froze for a moment before trolling escalated. Then, Andrea Not Charming dropped a bomb. That dorm mom is famous for hitting on male students. Related to the dean. Bold as hell. Guys have to play along. The implication was clear. I was exploiting Ethan. The trolls latched on immediately. Ethan started to defend me, but I intervened.
What?
You figured it out. I feigned astonishment. It's true. I'm the ancient ancestor of the Ethan clan, awakened after 1,000 years. He stepped on the magic seal while collecting duck eggs, freeing me. Young appearance notwithstanding, it's all real. I patted Ethan's shoulder. Go on, my child, collect those eggs. I'm too old for this modern world. Your labor supports me now. The chat froze. Even Ethan didn't know how to react. Then the chat exploded. LMAO, this is hilarious. She's his great-great-great-grandma. Can I get an ancient ancestor too? The trolls were drowned out by memes and jokes. Ethan stood tall. She gave me a job and taught me the value of hard work. That makes her better than those hiding behind keyboards causing trouble. All the eggs are collected. See you tomorrow. He ended the stream. I smirked. That'll be a $100 deduction for nonsense. Do it again, you're fired. Ethan snapped to reality. Ma'am, sorry. I told him to finish cleaning while I went straight to the IT department. Andrea had crossed the line. I submitted the live stream footage, and IT traced the troll accounts back to her. Simultaneously, I filed a police report for defamation, citing damage to a university employee and a student. With digital proof, the case was airtight. The authorities got involved. Andrea received a formal, public reprimand and a mark on her permanent record. From that moment, she regarded me as a mortal enemy. Petty annoyances followed. A broken faucet, a faulty window latch. My maintenance requests were constant. Andrea reported to the campus counselor that she was developing depression. The counselor instructed me to show more care and submit daily well-being reports. Each day I visited, she ignored me while glued to her phone. I knew she was wasting my time, but I didn't care. I conducted thorough searches for hidden electronics, knowing the trick students used. Her roommates, already upset from past betrayals, subtly took out their frustrations on Andrea. Her resentment grew until she told the counselor she no longer needed my visits. I couldn't stop. Duty called. My nightly rounds intensified, citing a student struggling in room 307 as justification. The system reported Andrea's resentment skyrocketing. Then came the perfect opportunity, a cat. One of her roommates secretly told me Andrea was hiding a pet. I followed the faint meows to her slightly ajar door. Inside, Andrea cradled a scruffy stray, milk and sliced hot dogs laid on the floor. Andrea. University rules forbid pets in the dorm. You're breaking regulations. Andrea clutched the cat, masking defiance with tears. But ma'am, it's helpless. It would starve. I crossed my arms. Dorms are communal, not shelters. Hygiene, noise, potential scratches, disease. Responsibility lies with you. That's a 5-point conduct deduction. Her face paled, then reddened. Victor appeared at the doorway. Andrea ran to him, cat in arms. Victor, help me. This kitten saved me during a dark time. I interjected. You claim to be well. Are you lying to the counselor? Andrea froze. I had a relapse, okay? I feigned concern. A relapse like that is serious. I should notify your faculty advisor and your parents. No, she cried. Victor, clueless to Andrea's manipulation, chimed in earnestly. Andrea, if you're really unwell, maybe you should see a doctor. No, that's not it. She hadn't expected Victor to side with me, and suddenly, she was trapped. Are you trying to push me over the edge? Victor frowned. You can't keep a cat in the dorm, and you seem upset. Maybe we should call your advisor. Just then, the stray cat had enough. It wriggled free from her arms and bolted out of the room. Her living prop was gone. The performance collapsed. Silence hung thick in the room. Victor cleared his throat. Well, I guess the cat doesn't like being cooped up. Andrea sputtered in fury, but with nowhere to aim it, I delivered the final verdict. Clean this room from top to bottom. Disinfect everything the cat touched. I'll return tonight for inspection. If it isn't spotless, more points will be deducted. System notification. Victor's affection for Andrea has dropped to 0. Mission complete. Host may choose to remain in this world. I clicked confirm, without hesitation. Naturally. If I hadn't died in my original life, I wouldn't be here. Congratulations, host. You will continue your life as the dorm owner. Enjoy your days ahead. I exhaled, finally feeling the tension drain away. Andrea's glare could have curdled steel. That look promised murder. And she tried to make good on it during the university-wide fire drill. Smoke bombs went off. Students evacuated in an orderly fashion, heads down, hands over mouths. As dorm mom, I conducted a final sweep of the floors. On the 3rd floor, something smelled wrong, an acrid stench of burning plastic that wasn't part of the drill. My blood ran cold. I sprinted to room 307. The door was unlocked. Inside, thick black smoke curled, flames flickered. Anyone in here? I shouted, covering my mouth and nose as I plunged in. Through the haze, I spotted Andrea collapsed near her desk. The fire originated from a high-wattage kettle plugged into a power strip beneath her desk, a blatant dorm violation. The flames had begun to consume books and curtains.
I had no time to think.
I radioed in a real fire, requested backup, and rushed forward, dragging Andrea away from the blaze. She was heavier than she looked, but I managed to get her into the hallway. Smoke stung my eyes. As I went back for an extinguisher, Andrea's eyes snapped open, gleaming with malice. She kicked me hard in the side. Staggering, I tumbled back into the smoke-filled room.
Slam.
The door clicked shut. Her maniacal laughter echoed from outside. Have fun in there, heroic dorm mom. Dying in a fire to save a student. How noble. Ha ha ha. Andrea. I screamed, fury and disbelief colliding. I yanked the handle. Locked. She must have rigged it. This psycho. The fire spread. I forced myself to stay calm, retreating to the bathroom where the smoke thinned. Towels soaked in water jammed the cracks under the door. Thankfully, backup was already on the way. Shouts came from the hallway. Breach the door.
Now.
My consciousness dimmed, but I knew I was safe. When I woke, I was lying on the grass outside. How did you get out? Impossible. Andrea shoved through the crowd, her face pale with shock. I ignored her, handing a small device to a university official. This fire was not an accident. The recorder has Andrea's confession. Arson and attempted murder. The crowd went silent, stunned. Victor, Ethan, and Caleb rushed over. Seeing me disheveled but unharmed, they exhaled in relief. When they turned to Andrea, their expressions were no longer disappointment. They were pure revulsion and fear. Andrea collapsed, ashen. Her actions had exceeded all bounds. She was taken into police custody. The law would handle her. I, meanwhile, received a university commendation for heroism during the drill. Thanks to Ethan's newfound minor celebrity status, students dubbed me the hardcore dorm mom. They came to me with problems and my reputation flourished. Victor, Ethan, and Caleb treated me with genuine respect. The system, having completed its mission, vanished, leaving no trace. And I finally began my new, wonderfully peaceful life as dorm mom.